Yeah, hello. Welcome everybody to today's lecture within our courses Machine Learning and Deep Learning with Python. Today we have the pleasure to have Timo Hurme from the Natural Resource Institute of Finland telling us about machine learning problems at Luke. And yeah, I'm very happy to have Timo because as I said in several occurrences before, I think the best way to learn machine learning and deep learning is by looking at as many and as diverse applications, problems, and methods as possible. And I have seen in the feedback that we collect, and thanks a lot for submitting the feedback. I have seen some students asking for more diverse data sets or problems because in the notebooks and in our assignments, we often use the same types of data, toy data sets. And for this reason, we have the student project. So please be a bit patient. After these first rounds where you learn the basic methods, you will have plenty of time to try out the methods on any data set that you want. And you will then in the peer review, in the peer grading, see the applications and data sets the other students looked at. So we have exactly the student projects at the later phase of the course to show you more diverse applications and data sets. And also we have guest talks like today to give you an overview or to give you first-hand information how machine learning is used in applications and in so to say in the business life. Yeah, about Luke, I have had several contacts already with Luke researchers. They have really super interesting problems. For example, one problem was to count fishes in rivers based on, I think it was sonography, on acoustic imaging. Other applications involve optimizing plant growth, or also maybe, I'm not sure, tracking bears and wolves moving around Finland. So really elementary problems that we can approach with machine learning. But now I'm giving the stage to Timo. Timo, thanks for giving this talk. I'm happy to have you today.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, I'm Timo Hurme. I'm working as a group manager in Natural Resources Institute Finland, and the name of the group is Applied Statistical Methods. But as my title of the talk today is stating, I'm talking about, in addition to statistics, I'm talking about machine learning and bioinformatics as well, and those all so-called method areas are represented in my group at the moment. And here I'm giving you kind of a overview of what will be covered in my presentation today. First of all, I will talk to you a little bit about Luke in general. And in this general presentation, I will also be talking to you about the kind of topics we conduct research on in Luke, so you also get an idea on what kind of application areas we work with, for example, using the machine learning methods. Then I will also introduce a little bit closer my own group, where we have machine learning experts, but also I will introduce some other groups and what kind of projects they have where they apply machine learning. And then in the end of the presentation, I have a few examples where machine learning was used. So this is kind of the rough overview what we'll be covering today. Well, first, briefly about Luke in general, what we do. As you study in Aalto University, and maybe most of you are in Otaniemi, you might know better VTT, And Luke is similar government research organization as VTT, but our research area is renewable natural resources. So that's what we work on, and also sustainable food production. And also a big focus in our institute in recent years has been to increase sort of the customer solutions that we can offer and work even closer with different customers. And next slide will give you a little bit of an idea about more closely what kind of topics we work on. This is the Luke's brand new strategy put into one graph. And well, first of all, our vision for the future is a sustainable future and well-being from renewable natural resources. So there the renewable natural resources are shown again, but these different colored circles here, they give the kind of the main titles that we work on. So most of the future research projects will go under these 4 titles. So first of all, there is circular bioeconomy, then there is profitable and responsible primary production, adaptive and resilient bioeconomy, and climate smart carbon cycle. So a lot of kind of very current and hot topics in the society can also be seen in our research at the moment. Luke is maybe at the moment already quite known, but this slide is showing you where Luke came from, because we are quite new research institute. So Luke was formed in beginning of 2015, and we came together in a merger where the 3 major institutes that joined together were MTT Agri-Food Research Finland, then the Finnish Forest Research Institute, and the Finnish Game and Fisheries Research Institute. So this means that forest research, agriculture and food research, and game and fisheries research are all represented in what we work in Luke. And yeah, this is just to give you a better idea what's the background where we come from. And next I want to go in a little bit more detail into what kind of topics we or our research projects are related to. These are the focus areas of research, and first one is this boreal green bioeconomy. And here you can already see some titles that maybe you already see that they are something that machine learning methods can bring a lot into. So first of all, this boreal green bioeconomy, in practice, this includes a lot of the forestry related research projects. And this first title, genomics and breeding here, that's especially one topic where really huge and complex data sets are collected, and that's one area where machine learning methods can bring a lot into the table. Also in my group, the bioinformatics people, they work especially on this field, this area. Then on the other hand, when we talk about forestry related research, for example, the harvesting machines, they are one area that they when they are operated, they collect huge amounts of data as they go, and that's one area where machine learning methods have been used to analyze that data. Then, for example, images taken using drones and also satellite images from forests. They are such data that machine learning methods are needed there. Then the next focus area of research is this innovative food systems, and in practice this covers a lot of agricultural and food research. This genomics and breeding you can see again here, because it's that kind of a topic that goes through most of these big areas. So it's genomics and breeding is present in many of these. But specifically concerning agricultural research, there is, for example, this smart farming mentioned here. That's one sort of machine learning intensive area. And then, for example, you can see the word microbiome in many places on this slide. So that's also one area that brings us quite complex data, and that has some challenges for methods as well. And then the next big area we work on is blue bioeconomy, which covers many fish-related research areas. And Alex already mentioned that tracking or monitoring these migratory fish is one area that brings a lot of data and method challenges. For example, these salmon monitorings have caused a lot of work, for example, for the Bayesian statisticians in Luke. And then the fourth and final focus area of our research is this Biosociety, and this covers a lot of economic and social sciences related research that is done in Luke. And also this includes the wildlife. It's not maybe mentioned in this slide, but it covers the wildlife related research, and there is, for example, also the monitorings and that kind of things that Alex also mentioned that causes challenges. And also maybe one topic where machine learning methods might bring new things is this these kind of monitorings I mentioned, that some for example, wolves are monitored, the number of wolves every year, and I think this like automatization of that kind of monitoring is something that we look for in the machine learning methods in the future. And yeah, those previous four big topics I mentioned, they are the kind of big headers that our research projects fall under. But in addition to research projects that are funded with mostly or partially from external funding, in addition, we also have these statutory and expert services. And these are the kind of services that some legislation or something requires Luke to perform some of these in a regular basis. So, for example, these monitorings are actually part of the statutory services. We are expected to to figure out and report the number of wolves and moose and many other species every year. So monitoring is a big area, and I will talk a little bit more in a minute, but other such statutory services are, for example, the official statistics. Luke is one of the parties that produces some of official statistics in Finland. Of course, Tilastokeskus Statistics Finland is the biggest organization producing official statistics, but Luke is one of the others. And many other statutory services, as you can see on this slide. Here is a separate slide also about these monitorings. And this is especially interesting in my opinion because these monitorings actually bring quite many different challenges for the method experts. I already mentioned these wildlife monitorings. There's the large carnivores, wolves and so on, moose monitorings. There is a Bayesian statistician working on that area specifically, and also these other species. Then on the other hand, also on fish side, there is quite much challenges for statisticians and machine learning experts to work on those monitorings, but also in the forestry side. For example, the National Forest Inventory means that Luke basically counts or gives an estimate of wood in the Finnish forests every year, so divided into different categories, but basically it's a estimate of how much volume of trees is growing in the Finnish forests. And also one area where our method experts have been working on is this greenhouse gas inventory. That's also giving us a lot of work. Then more kind of a general information about Luke. All together in Luke there is about a little bit less than 1,300 people working in Luke. We have 42 professors, research professors in different fields, quite many in some kind of sort of biological field or other application area covered in Luke. Also in our group we have 2 professors. One is a professor in statistics and one is in animal genetics. And the kind of the division of into different personal groups. About half of us are scientists, 1/4 is other experts, and about 1/4 is research support personnel. So I guess these other experts, quite many of them are actually, you could say that they are also scientists because they might be working completely on research projects, but some are more in other tasks. But then you might notice that we have quite a high proportion also of research support personnel, and that can be explained by the nature of our research, because we have kind of we, for example, conduct research on farm animals, so that's natural that the animals have to be taken care of also outside of the experiment. So we have that kind of infrastructure that requires a lot of personnel to make things work. Then how we are located in Finland. We have 4 main locations. Our main office is in Helsinki, in Viikki. But in addition to Viikki office, we have 3 other main offices. And personally, I work in Jokioinen, which is kind of a main experimental location of Luke. A lot of our experimental work is done in Jokioinen, and then other main locations are in Joensuu and Oulu. But as you can see on the slide, there are also quite many other locations and also many experimental stations. So that's also because of the nature of our work dealing with the natural resources in Finland. We have to cover the whole map so we can cover all the research topics that Luke is working on. On this slide, I also wanted to point out our unique research environments, because we have quite many different kinds of research environments where we can produce a lot of interesting data for Luke research. For example, we have research forests, we have research fields in several locations, we have greenhouses and other similar environments. Then we also have aquaculture facilities for fish research. Then there are cattle houses and also many laboratories and other research equipment. So this is kind of one really key thing that makes us able to conduct very special research, because we have very good research environments available. And then the next is a few slides on our impact, what kind of outputs we are able to generate in Luke. Altogether, we have about 700 ongoing research projects, and in 2019 we were able to produce 608 peer-reviewed articles, and some of them were in really top papers. So especially those nature covers you can see here on this slide are something really special in our area, at least. And then also this slide is giving you a little bit of idea what we work on. So here are some numbers of how Luke's publications promote the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. So you can see quite high number of publications in several of these goals. So these are the kind of things that we work on. And yeah, that's the kind of the general presentation of Luke I had in mind. Next, I will go to my own group that I'm managing at the moment. And like I mentioned in the beginning, the name of the group is Statistical Methods. And even though it's kind of a historical reason, because we started so that we only had statisticians in the group. So now we have expanded in the recent years, and nowadays we cover not only statistics, but we have statistics, bioinformatics, and machine learning expertise all in our group. So what we do is we provide expertise for Luke research projects in these 3 method areas. And the basic idea is that researchers in Luke can come to us with their data and research questions, and it's our task to find the proper methods to solve the problems. And I always, especially in Luke, I always want to promote the idea that we would always like to be included already in the research planning stage, because that's often the place where we can give the highest sort of input for the project when we are already part of the planning. My group is also separated in several locations, as you can see here. The two biggest centrals of this group are in Helsinki and Jokioinen. And as I mentioned earlier, these are also the two biggest locations of Luke altogether. But in addition, we also have people in Turku, Oulu, and Rovaniemi. So we have also good geographical coverage in our group. Most of these people you see here are statisticians, but there is a few machine learning experts. Here in the Turku picture, you see Jonne here on the left side. He's starting with Luke in a few weeks, and he's our new machine learning expert. Also, Pekka in Turku here. He has a long experience. He has been working for years already with machine learning problems, and I think Pekka might be later coming to this course also to give a guest lecture, and he will then give more detailed presentation about machine learning methods in Luke. Also, Eero Liski, he's a statistician by basic training, but he has specialized in machine learning methods in the recent years, and also quite many others in our group. They are maybe bioinformaticians or statisticians first, but they also are trained and using machine learning methods. So I guess, at least in my opinion, the kind of the line between statistics and machine learning, it's not very clear. So a lot of the same methods you can find in both, but there is some separate and separately strong areas in both. Yeah, and so this is our people, and then a little bit more about how we work in Luke. We are a group in one research unit in Luke, but how we operate is that we collaborate equally with everyone in Luke. So we do not focus on any one area or one research unit or anything, but we are equally working together with anybody who has such problems where our expertise is needed. Of course, some individuals in our group, they might be more specialized in one topic, and their project work might be coming from just one field, and then others are in very many places during the year and in many different kinds of applications. But in general, as a group, we are not specialized in any specific area. And so to say, our core competence is this broad knowledge and also a huge experience in applying these methods to look at research projects. So we have a lot of experience in that. And as a group, we participate in almost 200 projects annually. So that's about 1/3 or something of all of Luke projects, and it means that on average one individual is in about 10 projects per year. And we also have some research projects led by our group, so especially our professors. In this previous slide, I can go back a little bit. Juha Heikkinen, he's our statistics professor here, and then Ismo Stranden, he's our animal genetics professor. They especially have their own projects that they are leading. And yeah, then next I want to talk a little bit more closely about how we work on these different method areas. Statistics is here first, and basically what we do is that we participate in research planning, and then statistical analysis and reporting. So those are the key phases when we work in projects, and that's our main work, that we work in Luke projects. And in this slide, this is kind of also something that I also promote in Luke. So big focus is given for this research planning, because as I mentioned, it's something I always want to bring up, that it's key thing that we would be more and more involved already in the planning, and there we can, for example, perform some sample size calculations and help choose an optimal research design and so on, and those might make a big deal to get the best possible results out in the end. But in the actual fact, the main working phase for us is statistical analysis and reporting of the results. So we perform the analysis, and then the end result might be that we are involved in writing a manuscript, or we might build some kind of prediction model or something as the end result. Then also, in addition to this project work in the left-hand column, we also produce these so-called method services, which mean kind of small-scale things that we offer to everybody in Luke. So we offer, for example, training, short courses. Then we offer this small-scale consultation, and also we participate in keeping the software working. And also these method services are key in providing networking opportunities between statisticians in Luke, so they can get peer support and help from others. So this is kind of the rough overview how our experts work, and this was about statistics and statisticians, but the similar thing applies also to other methods. You can see pretty much the same idea for the bioinformaticians. It's also the same, that it's the research planning, data analysis, and reporting that's part of how where we work on in projects. And then related to bioinformatics, one kind of key method service that they participate in is this support of computing infrastructure, which is this bullet number 3 here, because bioinformaticians are those guys in my group that mostly work with the really huge and complex data, and therefore they have the highest need and highest expertise about this computing infrastructure. So they have been dealing a lot with building Luke's own computing cluster that was taken into use earlier this year, and then they also have the best knowledge on how CSC services work. And then what's maybe the most interesting to you guys is this machine learning here, and also you can see the same phases roughly in the project work. So they also participate in research planning, but the main working phase is the data analysis and reporting. Maybe more than in statistics, the focus is building good prediction models. That's kind of naturally so for machine learning experts. And I have also brought out kind of because we've had this discussion in Luke about how machine learning and statistics compare. So I have a little bit of list of what are the specifically strong areas, in my opinion, for machine learning if you compare to statistics, and one is this handling of unstructured data. So applications such as image and video processing is something where machine learning can give a lot more compared to statistics. And for us in Luke, this is the really huge area that we are focusing on, different kinds of applications that produce images or video. So this is a big challenge for us now and in the future. Text mining is maybe another such topic. For us in Luke, text mining is not so big at the moment, but maybe it is still so that there is not yet so many. We haven't thought of that many research problems that would require text mining, but much more problems related with images than text. Then handling of very many predictors is one area, and yeah, I already mentioned that building good prediction models is kind of one thing. And then it's also good to point out then that in quite many cases you can use either one. So quite often in Luke, those people who have machine learning expertise, they use those methods to do very similar data analysis as statisticians do with statistical methods. In Luke, as I mentioned earlier, we have a new guy stepping in, Jonne Pohjankukka. So he will be kind of a key person in putting together this coordination of machine learning methods soon that he will now begin with us. Then we also have these other groups that have machine learning experts or researchers in Luke. So our group is only one, and we have a couple of guys, but here you can see a list of other groups. I have put in bold this farming technologies group, because that's one really important group in that respect, because they have quite many people and also many projects dealing with machine learning. But then you can also see many of these other groups. But I also want to mention a little bit more about this farming. Oh, sorry, I'm still. My slides that I see myself and usually they change in different. I have to change them separately, so I forgot to change the slide. So now you can see these other groups that have machine learning experts in Luke. And yeah, so I was mentioning that this farming technologies group, they have quite many interesting projects with machine learning, and here you can see titles of such projects. So you can see that they have several projects dealing with agriculture and agricultural machinery. There is, for example, adaptive hydraulic control system, and there is drone used to do measurements in field scale, and that kind of projects. Then on the other hand, there is some livestock work being done. So classification of cow behavior, but also cow body condition. And also one example is detection of berries from the images. That kind of different problems. And yeah, so there, I think if you get interested in this farming technologies group, Kim Kaustel is the group manager there, and you can you can contact me also, but also Kim directly if you have something you'd like to talk with them. And then next, I also have this is kind of the last area of my presentation. Here are the few cases about image recognition. This is based on work done by Pekka Jounela in my group. He has been working on several topics with image recognition, and I thought these are interesting to show you, as I mentioned, that this image recognition is a very hot topic in Luke at the moment. So one example where image recognition is used is this these game camera images. So we might have a game camera in forest, and it takes images when it sees some movement, and then it might result that some images don't really have any animal in it and some have animals. So here this image processing has a couple of challenges. First of all, it should be able to separate different species. So here we should be able to identify this as a deer, and then also we might be interested in subcategories under the deer. So whether it's a male or female deer, or maybe it's a calf. So that kind of challenges. And this slide I borrowed from Pekka with his permission, so he has a little bit more detail on how the method works, but I won't go into such details in my presentation. Like I mentioned earlier, Pekka, in my understanding, is coming later to give another guest talk, and I think he will give more details about these methods that he has been using. Then next example on where image processing is used is to detect and count goose numbers from these images taken by drones. And you can see the original image on the left hand side, and there you cannot, if you just briefly look at it, you cannot really see any geese. So it looks mostly green to me, but here on the right hand side you see that the methods used have been able to identify over 2,000 geese in this image. And then my third and final example is kind of something in between these two, so similar than the previous, but it was to detect and count seal numbers from these airplane images. And here, at least in the original image, we can see the seals, but you can see that it would, and the traditional way has been so that someone really takes this image and zooms it and counts by hand the number of seals. But as you might think, it's much, it gives a lot of, it kind of helps minimize the labor quite much when these image or these computer vision techniques can be used to help count the number of seals in this image. So these are just a few examples of what kind of problems we work on in Luke, and where these machine learning methods might come useful. Yeah, so that's my presentation today, and here's some social media and website links and so on where you can follow the work done in Luke. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you a lot. It's quite impressive variety in the scale of the projects. Yeah. So now the students have the opportunity to ask the question. So please, if you have any questions, you can see them in the chat.
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
So there is a question about the berries.
Yeah. So the question is that detection of berries was mentioned, and yeah. I think this is exactly the purpose where this is maybe something I'm not so so much of an expert, but yeah, this is exactly the kind of application that we are very much looking for in Luke, that we have not only berries, but also, for example, in the field experiments where we grow, for example, some field crop. There we also have the situation that we have to always count the number, or do something like that, count the number of weeds, or count the number of some field crop, and as you can think, when we have so many applications, it requires a lot of manual work, and that's definitely one thing that we are looking for, that we could just take a picture and then use the machine learning or other methods to do the counting for us. But also, when we talk about berries, we also produce forecasts of yield, for example, for blueberry in Finland. So that's also a little bit of different kind of topic, where there is a lot of methodological challenges. We have to find the best methods to give the best forecasts. So then there is second question, that in what specific areas are you using machine learning algorithm for data analytics, and how, if you could provide some examples, that would be, yeah. Yeah, so if you mean those kind of application areas where we use machine learning, so already I had a couple of examples. So these kinds of images where we need to count keys or seals, or then these game camera, they are a few examples, and then there were some of these other examples. So yeah, those are few ones that we are using, and there then like I mentioned earlier, then there is, for example, in forestry side also, there are several challenges, because, for example, in those when we do the monitoring of Finnish forests, and try to estimate the number of or the amount of tree volume growing in the forests, we might use for example, we take images and use the images to make predictions about those, and those are just a few examples. Then there is next question, that in, for example, fish migration counts, is data also images, or are there any other sensors used? Yeah, I think they use those. Wonder what it's in. I'll check what the word is in English, but let me see. That's not my own area of work, so I'm a little bit lost with some of the words, but yeah, kaikuluotain in Finnish is what I'm looking for. So it's something like sonar images, I think, are used, and but I think they might also. I think they are using also some other kinds of images, and I don't know if it's for this fish migration example, but one really important topic for the future in Luke is also these hyperspectral cameras. So if we think about regular camera, like I can show you this again, this Pekka's slide here about this game camera. So in game camera we have the RG and B. So we have the three spectrums, the red, green, and blue. But the idea in the hyperspectral cameras is that it can capture quite many more than three spectrums, and then it can give us a lot more information and more detail about the thing that we are imaging. So those hyperspectral camera images is one sort of area that is bringing new work for us. Then there is a next question is that in your drone operations in forest, are drones flying above forests or also inside? If only above, could ML be helpful to make it possible to fly inside forests so that drone could automatically detect trees and avoid collision? Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, I'm not actually sure how it is. I'm kind of I have thought that it would be mostly above forest, but I'm not completely sure how they also fly inside. But that's a good idea. I have to keep that in mind. Then how large are the training data sets you use? How many images, for example, for the seal recognizer? And do we create our own data set? Yeah, it's we do generate quite much data in our research projects, but of course we have, it depends very much on the project. So we also have some projects where we use some data available from registries or from other sources available. So no, really, it's not mandatory to produce our own data sets, but quite often we do. And yeah, it's I'm not exactly sure about that. For example, the number of seal images. Yeah, I don't actually know that example so well, so I cannot. But for example, these game camera images, there I do know that we have, like, there should be hundreds of, at least hundreds of labeled images available. And then next question is, are you able to predict, for example, the expected number of birds that will migrate to Finland from other parts of the world during the volume of milk that would be produced by the dairy cattle based on data and weather changes from pre. Yeah, I think. I think migratory birds is not something we work on in Luke, but this dairy predictions sounds like something we might be interested in, and for example, now I thought of one sort of dairy or cattle related challenge I heard at some point was that it would be beneficial if we could use images to predict the size or the weight of an individual animal. So that was one kind of problem that we were thinking about, that if you would just put the animal in front of some standard background where there could be some measurements or something, and then take a picture, and that picture would be used to predict the size or the weight of the animal. But yeah, things like volume of milk is something, and also things like we have been doing barley forecasts, and personally at some point I was involved in making a prediction model for spring wheat falling number. So this falling number is a number that gives an idea about the baking capability of the wheat flour. So if it's a low number, then you cannot make good bread out of the wheat. So it was, and it's a matter of correct harvest time for the wheat. So if you wait too long to do the harvest, then your wheat might start declining in quality, and this so-called falling number also declines. Then there is the next question, is that do you store the data sets in your own data center, or do you use commercial servers for storage? Yeah, we do. We have our own storages, and yeah, we are. Our IT comes from Valtori, that's providing IT services for various government institutes. So they also handle some of that stuff for us.
Okay, if there are any more questions now, I think we have like a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you a lot for your presentation. It was really interesting. And for anyone who is interested, you can go to the Luke website and check out the publications. So you can check out what kind of projects there are, what kind of statistical or machine learning methods are used. So thank you. And I wish everybody good evening, and I think that's it for now. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody on my behalf as well. And if you are interested in Luke, you can also contact us through me. So let's maybe be in contact at some point.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.